Hello, my name is Paul Marchbanks, and this is Digging in the Dirt, with the seventh entry in a series on the films of Danish auteur Lars von Trier. The Dogma 95 movement, spearheaded by Lars von Trier and Thomas Vinterberg in 1995, fostered a new brand of cinematic creativity by providing a set of constraints that encouraged participants to problem solve without relying on the new technology then transforming the industry. The movement lasted about a decade and spawned around 35 films, including quite a few directed by women, something which separates this particular avant-garde movement from those that precede it. Vinterberg and von Trier were searching for a realistic kind of visual storytelling willing to capture authentic emotion in recognizable situations, situations that replicated actual lived experience by capturing humanity's imperfect perceptions and understanding. A great example appears in a non-Dogma film heavily influenced by Dogma principles, von Trier's Breaking the Ways from 1996, in which viewers witness two reunited lovers embracing and talking beneath a helicopter's whirring blades. The audience can barely make out what they're saying because von Trier has chosen to rely wholly on diegetic sound which is actually present in the scene while he shoots it. As I mentioned back in entry number 6, adoption of these constraining rules paradoxically freed von Trier to release certain elements of the filmmaking process to his actors and to whatever environment in which he was shooting. Characteristically, however, he only followed those Dogma 95 rules, which he had helped generate, when it served his larger vision to do so. He followed The Idiots in 1998, also known as Dogma film number 2, with Dancing in the Dark, a film which breaks a number of Dogma rules during its musical dance sequences, including the mandate to only shoot with handheld cameras. In the scenes shot in the factory and on a moving train, von Trier edits together footage from fixed cameras, up to 100 consumer-grade Sony DV cameras that never pan or tilt, and then digitally alters the footage in post-production to create these scenes' dreamy, heavily saturated aesthetic. Despite these detours from his most recent manifesto, von Trier's goal in Dancing in the Dark is still a high degree of emotional and physical realism. His script details the struggles of Selma Yetskova, a young immigrant from Czechoslovakia who relocates to Oregon with her son because of the higher quality of medical care available in the States. Her determination to effectively parent while earning and saving as much money as possible quickly win the viewer's admiration, as does her reluctance to accept others' handouts. Onto this truthful, sobering portrait of hardship and privation, von Trier splashes the bright colors of Selma's music-infused daydreams. Whenever life grows particularly difficult, Selma transforms her surroundings by imagining that those who have a quarrel with her have buried their differences and are now dancing alongside her as they spin and cavort to music generated in Selma's head. The resulting dance routines may feel otherworldly, but they represent an effort to project onto a screen the joy-filled imaginative visions of a hopeful character with poor eyesight who chooses to, in von Trier's words, quote, see another side to the characters and reality around her. The film's musical numbers also benefit from Lars von Trier's having hired a professional singer, the Icelandic performer Björk, to play Selma. Their collaboration was difficult from the beginning and has made many a headline, but together they generated one of the most powerful and innovative musicals in recent decades. Whether the achievement warranted the personal sacrifice given by both of them is an open question. Björk has repeatedly slammed von Trier for whatever methods he used to get such incredible performances out of her, and von Trier has observed that it was not an enjoyable film to make. He highly respects Björk's accomplishment in the film, but recognizes that as enjoyable as it was once the camera was rolling, the rest of the process, quote, gave her this big pain from feeling the whole thing, end quote. When asked in the year of release whether it was all worth it, given that the film took top prizes for director and female actor at the Cannes Film Festival, von Trier reflects, well, yes, but if you divide it all and consider the time when the camera was on, then those prizes only went to that part of the work. The rest has only been a lot of brawling and bickering between Björk and me, and that's a mess you can't just wash away, prize or no prize. One huge sticking point for the two artists was the conclusion, which, while darkly beautiful and consistent with ideas set up earlier in the film, did not dovetail with how Björk wanted the tale to end. Though von Trier ultimately stuck to the conclusion he had written, Björk ended up having her way too in one sense. She insisted that the bright and hopeful song New World play during the credits, a decision von Trier notes was hers and contrary to his vision in this, the first produced screenplay that he had written totally on his own. Their joint accomplishment is undeniable, particularly when one considers that Björk had little acting experience outside of music videos when she took this role. For many actors, playing the role of a character with a disability provides the ultimate opportunity to showcase their shape-shifting abilities. Performance is often recognized during awards season with the highest accolades possible. If you're interested in some of the more incredible transformations in mind, body, and speech populating modern film, I highly recommend A Patch of Blue, Rain Man, My Left Foot, What's Eating Gilbert Grape, Nell, Iris, and the Hours, among others. Björk's performance as a woman with fast-fading sight definitely belongs alongside these performances by more experienced actors. She effectively portrays the operatic highs and lows of human pathos, all while effectively rendering in body and voice the challenges faced by many in our world who regularly confront the fraught intersection of disability and poverty in cultures intolerant of both. You may have noticed that the list of films I just cited drew primarily from the 20th century. Actors in recent years still occasionally play characters with disabilities, but the practice has become much more problematic due to increased attention to the socio-political issues orbiting around issues of representation. The practice of inviting able-bodied, neurotypical actors to play the roles of such characters has understandably come under fire. A growing contingent of actors with disabilities and their allies question the assumption that granting an actor without a particular kind of embodied or cognitive difference the opportunity to feign that difference is more important than giving actors who actually have that difference the opportunity to play characters like themselves. In the history of film, the latter is unfortunately quite rare. Todd Browning's provocatively named Freaks, William Wyler's The Best Years of Our Lives, and Rhonda Haines' Children of a Lesser God provide valuable exceptions to the rule. Another such exception can be found in Lars von Trier's 2 seasons of The Kingdom, a Danish television show released in the United States back in the 90s as a series of indie films. He hired 2 actors with Down syndrome to play kitchen attendants who see far more about what's going on behind the hospital's closed doors than any of its other employees. Von Trier's continuing interest in issues of representation veers into radical territory in the film The Idiots, a pseudo-documentary in which a group of friends pretend to have severe cognitive disabilities in public in an effort to free themselves from the suffocating trappings of society and get in touch with their innermost impulses. The film implicitly praises the goal, but not the means, considering whether the performance of disability isn't more likely to betray the performer's own prejudices and ignorance than it is to draw helpful attention to an oft-maligned people group. What do you make of von Trier's storyline and Björk's portrayal of a woman who is slowly going blind? Do you think the film ultimately encourages the stigmatization of disabling conditions as wholly negative states of being? Or does it celebrate this kind of difference?